Imagine spending the last decade watching your home double in value, maybe even triple. Everyone said Washington was the smart move. Tech jobs, no income tax, beautiful weather, solid investment. Then you wake up one morning in 2026 and check Zillow, and your stomach drops. That home you thought was worth $1.2 million is now showing $850,000. The condo your neighbor bought for $300,000 is listed at $220,000. And the for sale sign on the corner has been there for 93 days with 3 price reductions stamped across it like warnings. This is happening right now in 10 specific Washington cities, and the data is far worse than anyone in the mainstream media is willing to admit. Today, I'm walking you through the 10 Washington cities where home prices are crashing right now in 2026, ranked from number 10 down to the worst hit city in the entire state. Stick around to number 3 because the inventory surge there is genuinely shocking. And number 1 is the city even Washington locals don't realize is in trouble. Let's get into it. Starting at number 10, Vancouver, Washington. Not the Canadian one. The Vancouver, right across the Columbia River from Portland, Oregon. Population around 190,000. For years, this city was sold as the smart move for people priced out of Portland. Today, that smart move is starting to look very expensive. Vancouver's median home price has dropped to around $475,000. That's down meaningfully from its peak. But the real story is that homes are sitting on the market significantly longer than they did a year ago. Average days on market in Vancouver have climbed from under 30 to over 45 days, and many homes see 3, 4, even 5 price reductions before they finally sell. Why is Vancouver crashing? 2 reasons. First, spillover from Portland's economic mess. The City of Roses has been bleeding employers and residents for 5 years, and Vancouver caught some of that desperation. Cross-river buyers used to push prices up. Now those same buyers are pulling back. Second, interest rates. With mortgage rates hovering above 6%, the Portland commuter who could afford a $500,000 Vancouver home in 2022 simply cannot afford the same home in 2026. Those buyers vanished. The neighborhoods getting hit hardest are the newer subdivisions east of Interstate 205. Builders threw up thousands of homes during the boom, assuming the demand would keep coming. The demand stopped. The homes are still there. Builders are now cutting prices, offering buy-down incentives, and quietly slashing list prices by tens of thousands. If you bought in Vancouver after 2021, your equity has likely gone backwards. That's number 10. Number 9, Federal Way, Washington. It sits between Tacoma and Seattle with a population just under 100,000. For most of the pandemic boom, this was one of the hottest mid-tier markets in King County. Buyers priced out of Seattle drove prices to historic highs. Then came 2026, and the cracks started showing. Federal Way's median home price has slipped to around $485,000. More importantly, the inventory picture has changed dramatically. Listings are up, sales are down, and the days when homes received multiple offers in their first weekend are gone. What's behind the slide? Federal Way is a textbook example of pandemic overextension. Buyers stretched their budgets in 2021 and 2022, assuming continued appreciation. That appreciation stalled. Many of those buyers are now trying to sell, either because they're relocating, downsizing, or simply tapped out on mortgage payments. The result is a flood of supply hitting a market that doesn't have the buyer demand to absorb it. The other factor is reputation. As we covered in our last video, Federal Way has serious crime challenges along certain corridors. That reputation is starting to weigh on home values. Buyers who could choose between Federal Way and a similarly priced home in Auburn or Renton are increasingly choosing elsewhere. The neighborhoods experiencing the biggest drops are the older subdivisions east of Interstate 5. areas built in the 80s and 90s that haven't kept up with newer construction in surrounding cities. Homes that listed for $575,000 a year ago are now closing at $530,000. That's a $45,000 reset in 1 year. That's number 9. Number 8, Spokane, Washington. Spokane was the unlikely darling of the pandemic real estate boom. Buyers fled high-cost coastal cities and rediscovered eastern Washington. From 2020 to 2022, Spokane home prices nearly doubled. It was briefly one of the hottest real estate markets in the United States. That party is officially over. Spokane median home price has now slipped to around $370,000. Days on market have stretched from 15 days at the peak to over 30 days now. Inventory has built up dramatically. Listings are sitting longer, price cuts are common, and the bidding wars of 2021 feel like ancient history. Why is Spokane cooling so fast? Pandemic migration is over. The remote workers who flooded Spokane in 2020 have largely left. Some called back to offices, others priced out by their own appreciation. Without that buyer pool, local Spokane wages simply cannot support the prices that pandemic buyers pushed up. There's also a quality of life problem. Spokane has serious drug and homelessness challenges in its downtown core. That reputation, combined with rising property taxes and insurance costs, has cooled the city's appeal as a destination. Specific neighborhoods are getting hit hardest. The South Hill area, which saw the wildest appreciation, has cooled. The Garland District and parts of West Central are seeing prolonged listing times. Even 5 Mile and the North Side, which held value longer, are now showing price reductions. If you bought in Spokane at the 2022 peak, you may have lost equity. That's number 8. Number 7, and this might surprise some of you, Tacoma, Washington. The same city we ranked number 1 on our most dangerous list last video. The City of Destiny, Washington's third largest city with a population of about 223,000. Tacoma's median home price is sliding. It currently sits around $520,000, with several neighborhoods showing meaningful year-over-year declines. The inventory buildup here is real. Days on market have climbed. Price reductions are routine. What's driving the Tacoma slide? A combination of factors. The city's serious crime reputation is finally catching up to home values. Buyers who can afford Tacoma can also afford suburbs like Lakewood, University Place, or Puyallup, and many of them are choosing those alternatives. Tacoma also rode the pandemic appreciation wave hard. Prices nearly doubled between 2018 and 2022. That kind of appreciation was never sustainable in a city with Tacoma's wage structure. The correction now happening is, in some ways, just the math catching up. The neighborhoods seeing the biggest price drops are South Tacoma along South Tacoma Way, parts of the Eastside, and certain older sections of the Hilltop. These are the same neighborhoods we discussed in our crime video, and the link is direct. Crime suppresses prices. Always has, always will. Meanwhile, the safer Tacoma neighborhoods like the North End, Stadium District, and Point Ruston waterfront are holding value much better. But citywide, the average is dragging downward. That's number 7. Number 6, Everett, Washington. Everett sits about 25 miles north of Seattle, population around 110,000. Home of Boeing's massive wide-body jet assembly plant. For decades, Everett was the affordable alternative for people working in Seattle who couldn't stomach Seattle prices. Everett's median home price is now hovering around $625,000. That's down meaningfully from its peak, and the trajectory is downward. Inventory has surged. Listings are stale. Price reductions are everywhere. Why is Everett crashing? Boeing. The aerospace giant has reduced its Everett workforce significantly over the past few years, and every Boeing layoff sends ripples through the local housing market. Engineers, machinists, and support staff who bought homes assuming stable employment are now facing tougher choices. The second factor is the I-5 commute. Everett to Seattle on Interstate 5 has become one of the worst commutes in the country. With more employers requiring at least partial in-office attendance, the value of living just north of Seattle has dropped dramatically. Buyers who can choose between Everett and a similar home closer to their workplace are increasingly choosing closer. The neighborhoods seeing the steepest declines include North Everett near the old downtown core and the newer subdivisions along Highway 99. Homes that sold for $650 a year ago are now closing in the low 600s, and some are not closing at all. That's number 6. Now we cross into the top 5, and this is where the data gets genuinely concerning. Number 5, Kent, Washington. Kent sits in southern King County, between Auburn and Renton, with a population around 140,000. It's been one of the workhorses of the Seattle metro area for 30 years, a city of warehouses, distribution centers, and middle-class neighborhoods. Kent's median home price has dropped notably. The city is now seeing a substantial inventory buildup, with active listings up significantly year over year and pending sales down. What's the story in Kent? Kent rode the pandemic wave with everyone else and is now paying the price. Buyers who stretched their budgets in 2021 and 2022 are increasingly listing their homes. The reasons vary: job changes, divorces, can't afford the mortgage realities, but the result is the same. More homes hitting the market than buyers willing to absorb them. Kent also has a perception problem. The city has seen rising crime, including notable retail theft and property crime spikes along its major corridors. The Pacific Highway South stretch through Kent has been particularly affected. That perception is bleeding into home values. The neighborhoods being hit hardest are along the West Hill, older subdivisions with smaller lots and dated construction, and the East Hill near the Kent-Covington border. Homes in these zones are seeing $40,000, $60,000, even $80,000 price reductions before they sell. If you're holding property in Kent right now and considering selling, the data suggests you're losing leverage every month. That's number 5. Number 4, Kirkland, Washington. Now this one will surprise people. Kirkland is on the east side. It's a premium market. Microsoft, Google, and dozens of other tech employers have major presences nearby. The waterfront, the schools. Kirkland was supposed to be immune. It is not. Kirkland's median home price has dropped meaningfully, with high-end inventory building up across the city. The luxury segment, homes above $2 million, is particularly soft. Days on market have stretched. Price reductions are common even in the best neighborhoods. What's happening to Kirkland? The Eastside's 52.5% inventory increase year over year tells the story. That's right. Over 50% more homes on the market than a year ago, against a median price barely moving. Sellers are flooding the market, and buyers are taking their time. The reason is rate lock paralysis breaking. For 3 years, homeowners with 2.5 to 3.5% mortgages refused to sell because moving meant taking on a new mortgage at 6+%. That dam has finally broken. Sellers who want to retire, downsize, divorce, or relocate are accepting the math and listing anyway. The result is a supply explosion. The neighborhoods feeling it most are the central Kirkland luxury zones near the waterfront and the older estate-style homes in Houghton and Bridle Trails. Homes that listed for $2.8 million a year ago are now closing at $2.4. That's a $400,000 haircut on a single sale. Even at premium price points, the math is catching up. That's number 4. The next 3 are absolutely brutal. Number 3, Bellevue, Washington. This is the one that's shaking the entire Pacific Northwest real estate community. Bellevue, the crown jewel of the East Side, home of Microsoft, home of Amazon's growing campus, home of Snowflake, Uber, OpenAI, Databricks, and dozens of other AI and tech employers. The Bellevue School District was just named the #1 district in Washington for 2026. Bellevue was supposed to be untouchable. And yet, Bellevue's inventory has surged by 52.5% year over year, while the median home price has barely held flat at $1.392 million. That's a market sending a very specific signal. Massive supply meeting hesitant demand. Days on market are climbing. Price negotiations are routine. The bidding wars of 2021 are gone. What's happening in Bellevue? 3 things converging. First, rate lock paralysis breaking, just like Kirkland, but on a bigger scale. Sellers who locked in 3% mortgages are finally giving up and listing. Second, tech sector uncertainty. The recent rounds of layoffs at Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta have made even high-income buyers cautious. Some are leaving the area entirely. Reports suggest 23% of current Bellevue residents are actively searching to relocate out of the city, primarily to lower-cost markets like Phoenix and Bellingham. Third, luxury segment softness. Homes above $2 million are taking far longer to sell than mid-tier properties. The neighborhoods being hit hardest are the ultra-luxury zones in West Bellevue, Medina, and Clyde Hill. A $3 million home in Medina that would have sold in 2 weeks during 2021 is now sitting for 90 days with 2 price reductions. Bellevue isn't crashing in the traditional sense. The bottom isn't falling out, but the air is coming out of the bubble. And for a city that's prided itself on resilience, that's a significant signal. That's number 3. We are now at the top 2. Number 2, and this is technically a region rather than a single city, Shoreline, Bothell, Woodinville, and the broader North King County corridor. This region has been one of the most resilient parts of the Seattle metro area for over a decade. Highly rated schools, easy access to Seattle, plenty of single-family inventory, solid wage base, and now it's in trouble. The data is striking. Active residential listings in this region are up over 87% year over year. That's not a typo. 87% more homes on the market than a year ago. Pending sales are down meaningfully. Closed sales have dropped substantially. And the median home price has slipped to around $1.3 million, with a clear downward trajectory. What's happening? This region is feeling the full weight of the rate lock release combined with luxury softness. North King County buyers tend to be families relocating for schools or commute access. Those buyers are now significantly more selective. They're touring more homes, making lower offers, and walking away from deals that would have closed in 2021. The Shoreline Edmonds corridor along Highway 99 is seeing the most dramatic shifts. The new light rail extension was supposed to be a price-supporting catalyst. And to be fair, it has helped certain pockets, but the overall regional inventory surge is overwhelming that positive signal. The neighborhoods seeing the biggest year-over-year drops include the older sections of Shoreline near 15th Avenue, parts of Bothell near the University of Washington Bothell campus, and the wine country zones of Woodinville where vineyard estate homes are sitting for 120 days or more. This region built its identity on resilience. That identity is being tested right now. That's number 2. Now, the city locals don't realize is in the deepest trouble. The hidden crash nobody is talking about. Number 1, Seattle, Washington. The largest city in the state, home of Amazon, Microsoft, Boeing, Starbucks, the supposed engine of the Pacific Northwest economy, the city tech built. And in 2026, Seattle home prices are crashing in a way most residents don't even realize is happening. 5 forces converging at once. First, the rate lock dam is breaking. Sellers are accepting the new rate environment and listing anyway. Second, tech layoffs. Amazon, Microsoft, and Meta have all cut Seattle area positions. Those laid-off employees are increasingly listing homes. Third, Washington's new income tax. The state's recent 9.9% income tax has pushed high earners to consider relocating to no-income tax states like Texas, Florida, and Nevada. Fourth, Seattle's well-documented crime and homelessness problems. The city's reputation has hurt its appeal for relocating professionals who now have alternatives. Fifth, return-to-office mandates are real but partial, meaning the premium for living downtown has decreased. The neighborhoods being hit hardest are Capitol Hill, where condo values have dropped sharply, downtown Seattle towers, where some units are listed below their 2018 purchase prices, and parts of Ballard and Fremont, where single-family homes are sitting on the market longer than at any time in the past decade. Even the historically untouchable neighborhoods, Madison Park, Madrona, Queen Anne, are seeing inventory buildup and longer days on market. The bidding wars are gone. The desperate buyer is gone. The market that defined Seattle for 15 years has fundamentally changed. If you bought in Seattle after 2021, you may already be underwater. If you bought before 2021, you've still got equity, but it's eroding faster than anyone is talking about publicly. That is number one, Seattle, Washington. The hidden housing crash that the mainstream media is refusing to acknowledge. So there's the list, the 10 Washington cities where home prices are crashing right now in 2026, based on the latest data from the Northwest Multiple Listing Service, Redfin, and Zillow. A quick reality check before you go. Real estate markets don't crash uniformly. Even in these 10 cities, certain neighborhoods are holding value beautifully while others are sliding. The data captures averages, not your specific block. If you're thinking about buying or selling, talk to a local agent who knows your micro market. If you found this video useful, hit the subscribe button. We're dropping new videos every 2 to 3 days covering Washington's hidden stories, the ones the real estate marketing brochures won't tell you about.